said it on the table, isn't it? It's not allowed. That disaster, it's not allowed on the table. So what's coming up in this episode?
Him.
Yeah.
And this.
And elephant.
Surely it was a joke.
No.
Can't actually be elephants.
Deadly serious.
Okay, fine.
Hi, we're the Caligaris. I'm Lou.
And I'm Russ.
We live on this boat with our 2 cats.
And Mr. Wiggles.
He's my dog.
Inside the boat is an awesome recording studio, and we release music under our name, the Caligaris.
We both work part-time to enable us to be creative as often as we can.
Lou is a HR director in London, a bit further down the river.
And Russ runs a video production company.
I suppose our philosophy is to enjoy a work-life blend.
We've just started to release our music to the world, but how do we let people know about it?
Yeah, that's the bit we can't do.
So we thought we would film our journey whilst we learn how to.
Hi, team.
Hi team! This is Mr. Wiggles, he's just had a haircut.
Nice.
This is Russell, he has not.
Big hair.
Big hair.
Gary Rhodes.
R.I.P.
So, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to?
Yeah.
Well, quite a lot.
Go on.
Quite a lot. So I've been working,
Right.
but I'm now leaving my job as HR director,
Right.
and I'm thinking about retraining
That's
and something
exciting.
else, or maybe taking a sideline in mental health first aid training. So going into corporate companies and talking about mental health and how you can support employees with mental health issues or challenges. That's what I'm thinking about.
That's awesome. You could just go in and play them Circles, our last single, because that's what that's all about.
Well, you are qualified, so yeah, let's go
Maybe
with
not.
that. I've also had Mr. Wiggles groomed
Yeah, he's looking
a couple
cool.
of times.
Fly.
Pretty fly for a dog guy. And I've made our Christmas cake. Been baking again.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't like Christmas cake though.
I think you'll like this one.
Okay, how come?
Okay, so the secret to my Christmas cake is 1, not to use all that dark fruit. Oh, fuck you. 1, not to use all that dark fruit, so only put things in it that you love.
Right.
So I like sultanas, I don't like currants and raisins, they don't go in.
Right.
I like cranberries, dried cranberries, they go in.
Right.
I don't like really dark brown sugar fruitcake, that doesn't happen. So it's a lighter cake anyway,
Yeah.
and I put cherries and peel in it, and then I feed it, not brandy, because that's quite heavy.
Right.
I feed it amaretto and gin and Bacardi.
Nice. The thing I don't like is it's like wedding cake, right?
Yeah, it's a celebration cake, yeah.
It's like so heavy and like burnt.
Oh no, cut
Fruits.
that off, cut it off. So
Right.
the top does burn, because it's such a rich, big cake, you have to cook it for like, 3.5 hours for an 8-inch round tin. And it does burn a bit on the outside, but I'm going to cut that off.
Awesome.
And then marzipan, then icing.
A friend of ours that watched this programme said that we really shouldn't talk about tea and cakes because it's not very rock and roll. What I say is, fuck you.
Well, no, I'm really interested in cake. I used to have a cake business, and I'm not doing this programme unless there's cake in there.
Done deal.
I want cake and animals. So what have you been Hey Russ! What have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing this.
It's good. What have you been doing?
This.
Setting this up, okay. What else?
When I say this, I'm then going to show what I've been doing.
Oh, okay. So what have you been doing?
A bit of this. And I've done a bit of this. And lastly, we've been releasing a bit of this.
So last time I was appointed as social strategist.
All right, I
Yeah.
called it head of social.
You called it head of social, I called it social media strategy. But I found it a lot harder than I thought, so I'm going to demote myself.
Okay.
Not hard, but we talked about doing things in the thirds,
Yeah.
and I'd kind of imagined it because I'm the right demographic for Facebook.
Yeah.
a woman of a certain age, that it would be like that, and I'd just be able to do it. But it isn't quite as easy as that, and I haven't found it as straightforward as that. So I haven't found it as easy to share things I'm interested in on our official pages. And also, I think you need to treat the different channels differently.
Right.
So you can't just blanket across them all, because it just doesn't seem right. And you've got the same audience on different channels, and they expect different things on your channels, I think.
Of course.
I do.
Yeah.
So when I've seen that, I thought, ooh, yeah, and I can't do that. So now that I'm not going to be so busy popping backwards and forwards to London, I'm going to have a look at that, and have a bit more thought about what we post where.
You say you found it difficult, but actually you've learnt a lot of stuff.
I've learnt a lot, yeah. It wasn't as straightforward as I thought, and if it was, everyone would be doing it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I did think it would be, just get everything out there, and it isn't. It needs to be more thought about and targeted.
Cool. So I've learnt some stuff as well.
Tell me. Tell everyone.
There's lots of platforms. There's stuff that we're not using, like there's Reddit, TikTok. We've got to get into those. Snapchat. Basically, you've got to do a bit on each thing if you're wanting to promote your music, because you don't know when people are going to jump on. The other thing is that there's this other rule of threes, and that is that it's noted that people are more likely to engage if they see things 3 times, and that may be across different platforms. So if they see a photo and then something may be slightly different or the same on a different platform, by the 3rd time they see it, that's when statistically they're more likely to jump on. We were talking about disseminating the information through the different platforms.
Yeah.
However, if you do it where, you link your Facebook and your Instagram.
Yeah. Which is what I do for my personal.
Yeah, then sometimes that works against you. And only 16% of your friends are seeing it anyway. So 16%. So that's on the initial sort of announcement of whatever it is you're posting.
Yeah.
So essentially, best times to post for things like this, 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
16% of your friends and family will see it.
Yeah.
And then another couple of hours later, a few more people see it, and then over the next week, more people see it. But if you work it out, I mean, we've all got like 1,000 friends or whatever, 502. We've all got a friend.
We've all got our mum, our sister.
We can't see everyone's news all of the time.
No.
There's just not enough screen time in the day. So that's kind of how that works.
I've got a question.
Go.
So if more people interact with your post, does that mean more people get to see it?
You'll see the ones of the people that you're interacting with, but there's other things at play here.
Right.
So hashtagging your post is going to devalue it.
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
But higher it up on
Instagrams. Anything that's like a YouTube link, Facebook aren't affiliated with YouTube, so they're not going to favour that.
Okay, so would you do, sorry to interrupt you, which I do all the time. If
You're not though, are you?
No, I'm not, sorry.
No.
Facebook video. So if you want to post a video on Facebook, would you upload a video to Facebook rather than putting a YouTube link?
Certain people are only going to watch it on Facebook. So yes, you have to use all the different channels. The other thing is that if your post includes a picture, or say a thumbnail of your video, if that has text in it, Facebook will devalue your post. So we are going to delineate that heavy lifting in our guide, right?
How's the how-to guide going?
Good. There's loads of information, obviously, sort of digging quite deep into this. There's a lot to note down, and it's changing all the time.
What kind of format is it going to take, and how are people going to get it?
I think it's going to need to be online so that we can continually update the dynamically the information that goes in, so that it's constantly useful rather than being outdated quickly. It's worth saying there are loads of other resources. Obviously, we're at the very start of our journey. How useful will we be, and who cares? There's a lot of people also doing the same thing as us that you can search out, who are much further down the line of the journey, have like better ins and more and better information perhaps. Probably not as much fun as us. Mr. Wiggles isn't in it for a start. Number 1.
Let's put photos of him in the guide.
Yeah, let's actually animate him and have him delivering the information, disseminating the information.
I don't want him disseminating.
Okay, fine.
We've just released Fun Bus, our latest single, on Rubicon Recordings.
Dance track.
Yeah, tell me about how that's
Booyah!
Get on the Fun Bus. Tell me how that's going.
So that's another world of stuff that will be in the guide as well, which is Spotify, all of the different music platforms. And I've learned some great stuff about that too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all about the charts. I mean, that's something we grew up with, right?
THP.
So the charts obviously still happen, although
Okay.
it's not on the top of the pops. And I don't know if you knew, but your YouTube plays and your Spotify plays and your all of that stuff is now included in your charting.
Okay, so it's updated from like going in, buying a thing and having to pay for, then going on to paying online. Now it's about listens.
YouTube just announced that any paid for promotions within the first 24 hours of your single being released are disregarded.
Okay, so like to level the playing field.
To help with that as well, there's a thing now that's available on Spotify called pre-save. So we can say that our single's coming out, and here's the link to where it's gonna be. You can pre-save this, so then upon release, it's got a chance of charting.
Okay,
I can do
so it's kind of like, because I had a go at you, didn't I? For like, what's the point of having a release date? Well, I didn't have a go. I did. What's the point in having a release date? Because now everything's just available.
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. So I suppose it's about build up some anticipation and have the opportunity to kind of get into a chart. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll find out what the numbers are on that, because I don't know, that may just be beyond, your smaller local act like us is reach.
It could just be ridiculous for us to even think about it. Okay.
Totally. But we'll work it out. I mean, there's just so much great advice out there, and none more so than some of the advice and fun conversations we're having with our guests.
Let's go to our first guest now.
Caligaris, THAMESTIMES. Smartest data. This beat. Let's get it. I'm a known champion. Captain, hear this sound and you'll get held captive. Contagious, catch this. Real mic man, rhyming savage. The full package, no half glass. I'm overly lavish, real Libra. Holding the balance. I got a team with a whole lot of talent. Trust me, you ain't ready for the long haul, son. Looking in the eyes of the chosen one, heart frozen. Delicate, don't drop or it gets broken. MOB, that's the focus, Donny. Don't stop till we all roll in money. Splash out and soak up where it's sunny. A long way from the days when the roads were grey and glummy. Now I'm on track like sports. Go to the max from 0 in seconds. With one mic as my weapon, I will take on the terracotta army. Shut down the government, cool anarchy. Time travel and reflect on the past. Back to the future, pass me the car keys. Zim zimmer, I'm a zoom zoom to a party. She loves me, they go crazy, crowd go balmy, they're in a heartbeat. Caligaris, THAMESTIMES, smartest data.
That's your camera if you want to say anything to anyone.
How you doing? Hi people, see you soon.
Last one we did, we were really like, where am I looking?
Can I pour for you? Would you like milk?
Yeah, please, yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I think it's going to be strong.
It's going to be really strong because it's sat there.
Strong tea.
Do you want a little bit more milk in it?
I'll let you know in a sec. There, that'll do me.
It's a mix of ours as well. It's Assam and a touch of Earl Grey. You let us know what you think.
So what, do you make the tea bag?
No, you get loose
Just the
leaf
loose
tea
leaves,
and you buy the boxes and then...
Just put it all
Yeah.
together and there you go.
Yeah.
I call it reality.
And Marcus, you said your favourite cake is carrot cake?
Yeah.
Why?
I'd be fair with you, I think it's more to do with the texture. I like carrot cake, it's not too sweet in the sponge. I think that the carrots add a nice flavour to it. And I think actually I like the natural sugars from the carrots. That's generally what I think makes it really good. So I like icing to complement the cake.
I think that's the thing that I like about the carrot cake is the fact it's not that normal icing.
Yeah.
And as you say, it just feels like goes together. The carrots make it really nice and moist as well. So it's always moist. I personally can't taste carrot in it.
I thought it would be like a sandwich cake so you get more of that, but it's not.
It depends on where you go though, doesn't it? Like, I do feel like you gotta meet a connoisseur of cake to know a good cake. Yeah.
And I think we've met one.
Yeah,
I mean, you clearly...
Yeah, I bake regularly. Really? Yeah, I bake nearly every weekend with my kids. Yeah.
Do you want, how big? There?
About there.
So, fork or fingers?
I'm fingers.
You eat cake with a fork? Definitely fingers. It's definitely... Never gone to Greg's and been offered a fork.
It's a true story. It doesn't feel like you can feel the cake when you're using a fork.
Yeah.
What's on top?
The walnuts.
Walnuts. I've had it with pecan. Pecan or walnut.
I go pecan.
You prefer pecan?
Bit
That's a good one, actually. I quite like the clag of that.
That's good. I mean, he baked that amazingly well. Was that a grandma's recipe? So, we can eat this all the way through. And we've only done half of the cake.
Claggy.
So,
It's claggy. I can't speak.
so Marcus, thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Tell us about where you're at musically. What are you up to?
Because my life's based around music, what I've done is I've tailored it to be more of my journey than I have as trying to brand myself as an artist. So what I'm now doing is I've started a new project called Lyric Book. I have a video coming out next month, and it's going to be the first one of the lyric book that I'm going to be doing, and I'll be numbering them now from moving forward. So I'm going to try and get to at least 500 lyrics done by the time I'm like 40.
Awesome.
That's my aim anyway. And then hopefully on that run somewhere along the line,
Something.
yeah, you know, if magic happens in that run. If not, then I've still got my journey to talk about, and I'll kind of using it as my little diary rather than having a physical lyric book. Now I'm going to go, write my stuff down, record it, go and shoot a nice little video for it, put it out there. That's lyric book number 1.
And it can go massive or it can go small.
Yeah, it can. It's just fun because I it's always been fun for me. I think the moment it got serious, it stopped being as creative as it was.
Yeah. Do you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like a piece of art.
Yeah.
So it's like you're creating something that is a body of work that's like becomes like a photograph of your journey. It almost doesn't matter about the success of it because it in itself has validity.
Yeah. I think the key thing I've learned over this period of time is you need to have something to be remembered by, and as much as your music can be good enough and people will always remember you by that, there's nowadays it's kind of a visual thing, it's how you represent yourself. People want to remember what it was for, they want to kind of see the trail behind us now in every respect, is kind of how I see it. So you kind of have to put yourself in a position where if you've done something here, how are they going to remember that tomorrow, let alone tomorrow, the following time that they want to talk to someone about it, how are they going to remember you through it? And I've learned over this period of time of setting up a few businesses, people remember stuff when they see things, and if you've got like a logo or something, they'll know it's you from that. It's just like superheroes. Batman's got his sign, and he's got his, Superman's got his sign, everyone's got their sign, and you only know it if you move that sign and change the colour of it, put it on someone else, you are that person. Someone's come up to me and go, oh, how you doing, mate? Yeah, I'll be like, yeah. What's your name? I'll be like, yeah, I'm Data. They'll be like, you're Data. And that made me go, why didn't you know that?
Yeah. You should all know me.
How have you not known that? But you knew of me. So my question is, how did you know of me but not know it was me?
We sort of use it to our advantage because when people actually find out what we look like, the sales go to zero. Now the saying.
You've got your lyric book. How are you going to get it out?
I've been working on this. So what I've done is, like, over the last couple of years, because of the social media side of things, I've had to try a few different things, sort of trial and error. Yeah. And I've got a little bit of a scheme that I'm going to stick with now, because I think it's a bit more, I realise that you just got to get on your legs. This is what I kind of understood. You just got to get on your legs. Social media, as far as I'm concerned, works, but there's a trick to it, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing, right? We think social media's new. What it's done to me, I think, is, you see, before you'd get up and you'd go knock on someone's door to hand your CV in, or you'd go to a club and you'd say, look, here's my mix, can I DJ here? Or it's just made that quicker.
Yeah.
It just made that a lot quicker. Yeah. So what I've realised is what I'm actually going to do with my lyric book is I'm going to have all my marketing set up, so I know when I'm going to release something, how many days after that the video is going to come out. I'm going to make sure I upload it to the basic places like your BBC uploaders, and I'm going to also promote my video to a couple of platforms. So there'll be a couple of platforms here and there that I'll try and use to help promote it. But my main thing that I'm going to try and do is build on my own channel.
My worry is that people are just really sort of hooked up on this how many views thing. Yeah. And I don't know if you know, but like Instagram are thinking of getting rid of likes.
So I did hear that, yeah. I did hear that. So
there's kind of like things become less about how many times it's been watched, you know, and things can be just judged on, did I like it?
They are looking for views. That is what people are doing at the moment. If you could be the best artist going and you get 100 views, you could be the worst artist going, and if you're getting near 500,000, scoop you up whether or not it's for a day or not, they'll get you for a moment of your hype. And that's how I see it. I see it like nowadays people are having timeline hype, is what I'd almost call it, because I've seen a few people, like there was a guy not long ago, I think it was Wireless, Dave performed at Wireless, and he's doing really good with his music at the moment, but he just pulled someone out of the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did it at Glastonbury and Wireless, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Glastonbury Dave or something, his name. No, the kid got called Glastonbury.
Yeah, he got a deal straight away.
Right. He just got pulled out of the crowd.
Yeah.
He wasn't good.
No.
He wasn't good. He's even released a song. He wasn't even an artist. So in my eyes, I'm like, they got 5 minutes fame out of the kid, and all of his friends and everyone around him, they've all maximised on that moment for a second.
Off his chops as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, mate. I was absolutely in awe. I was sat there and I went, oh my God.
Do you know what it was?
Really?
Dave had the backing on, so there was a backing up vocal
Yeah.
on
Oh,
the
the other
track
guy, yeah,
playing.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
as he was performing, everyone's going, "Oh, look at this guy, he's amazing." Going, "Oh, pretty much on the recording with a little bit of him."
Yeah, and then out of nowhere he then becomes Glastonbury, whatever his name is, and they got music videos for him, and he's in the newspapers and everything. And I was like, I'm a firm believer of you turn up to where your audience is.
Right.
So I still go out and like if there's a grime cipher going on, I'm going. I'll turn up. Let me grab a microphone in front of the newest set of grime people that I can see, so that they know who I am. Then all of a sudden I might be in front of 10 people that now are like, oh my God, that's Dale. Oh. So then they'll go, they were with me that day. That will then, word of mouth will spread again. And it's all about then how well you are at marketing yourself. So if I turn up somewhere like that, I'll turn up somewhere like that and tell everyone I've got a new song out. Then they'll all want to listen to it. So if they're listening to it, then again, social media would do its thing. Someone's listening to it and they share it, or it starts doing this algorithm type of thing. It starts to pick up the fan bases of things. So I can only say, build a little bit of buzz and then get on your social media, because then you'll capture it. It's like it's kind of like you've got to put a bit of bait on the end of your fishing hook. Yeah. Don't just throw your fishing hook in and expect that you'll be sitting there for a while. And that's what a lot of people do in music. They just throw it in and go, and they're looking around the social media going, oh, am I going to get to that amount? But if no one's seen you for ages, they're not putting your name in. They're not searching for you. Real people do that. So if you got to give them reason to put your name in their mouth. Festivals, I love that. Turning up and doing a performance somewhere where you don't expect anyone to know you. Straight away, I don't bring a fan, I don't bring a crowd, I don't bring anything. I turn up so that I can leave an impression on a load of people that have never seen me before. Because then when you come off the stage and people are like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. And they start talking to you and you can market yourself properly then. And those are the sort of people that will write your name down and they'll go and have a look. And then they'll tell someone else. So I think that's how that happens. It doesn't happen on Facebook. I can't go, oh, let me just message everyone on Facebook and start going, Facebook will control you for doing that. They'll go, wait there, you've been messaging a lot of random people today, and you'll get a message from them saying, limited to whatever. Yeah. So again, you've got to...
within your friends list or beyond?
Within your friends list. Like if I went in my friends list, let's just say, for example, I went, oh, new song coming out, copy and paste. Yeah. I'm going to send it to everyone in my friends account, because I might have like 5,000 friends. Yeah. If I'm literally going, person, send, person, send, person, send, you'll get to a limit where it's like, you got to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's like the number of people you can invite to something, isn't it? You have to do that over a couple of days. We have to do that.
Yeah, otherwise it's just, you get limited. So again, online limits you, and it also limits the access you have if people aren't organically actually connecting with you. So online's one thing, feet are another. I think once you meet someone, that's it.
Feet.
These are my legs.
Yeah, these are legs. If I was going to give anyone any advice, I just think that I'd class it as don't take music as a business, and don't be afraid to actually start your own business, and maybe stop trying to find a job is the best way for me to say it when it comes to music, especially for artists. I just think if you're going to go looking for a job, then make sure you're looking for a job, as in get your music, get it ready, and go knock on the labels and actually go looking, yeah? Because it's not a kid's game where you just go, oh yeah, mum, I've given out 1 or 2 CVs and I've just had no luck. You've got to keep going, yeah? And then if not, set up a business. And if you set up a business, make sure your model's strong and you get your branding right and you get your marketing right, and then just get to work.
That's great.
It's wise.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Russell and Louise. I've been watching your series THAMESTIMES, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's a pleasure to be on the show with you guys. I'm currently at an elephant sanctuary in South Africa at Hartbeespoort Dam. Apparently the facts and figures say that the elephant only has 10 more years before extinction. I feel in a better place here in nature than in, say, the middle of a city or stuck behind a computer in an office. And I believe that's the same for you guys. Concentrate more on good content, and I think that's the reason why I think the Caligaris really stand out, because you guys are doing what you want to do. You're making great music from the soul and from your emotions, and you're getting it out there the way that you like it, not just to make it look like you can get 1 million views. And perhaps you will, because sometimes bands that are distinctive like that will last forever.
normally we have on these things, we have one guest per month.
Would you like cream or not?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
On this one, we've got 2 guests. So I'm kind of like, I've been using this as an excuse. I've not really been eating sugar. I've been using this as my excuse to get some nice jammage down. But it looks like I'm going to end up with a problem.
I see.
I might have to find a new icebreaker.
This is the last one on the sconce.
Oh, is it?
Can't you...
Oh, cool.
But don't worry, I've got a lot of different cake ideas.
Right, okay, there you go.
Thanks for coming, Paul.
Oh, yeah, thanks for that great performance.
Yeah.
I mean, what can I say? That's what I do. I show up, I eat scones and perform.
I wasn't expecting that, I've got to say. I was expecting a bit less. I really appreciate how much you put into that.
As you've always said to me, less is more. And I mean, I've clearly not taken that advice on.
Seemed a bit needy, but over the top. I mean, we know you're a great drummer, right?
Paul Glover drummer.
Maybe it's the lack of drums. I was trying to compensate for something.
Tell us about your chosen instrument of today.
Well, it's a Feng or wind gong by Dream. Dream is a company that's a Canadian designer, but Chinese hand-hammered, amazing pieces of metal that are gongs or cymbals or effects or, yeah.
How big is the gong?
It is 32 inches.
Oh, it's the biggest gong I've seen.
You need to go to more prog rock concerts.
No thanks.
You very kindly play on our music, the album that we've just released, Postcards in the Wall. You're on every track.
Whether I want to be or not.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just pay you in scones. Bang. Job done. But you've sort of played all over those stuff festival. I think we've got some clips of you on the telly and all sorts. And we noticed on your website, 'cause we're sort of, I mean, I knew, but I didn't really know to what extent. But you hold a lot of endorsements. Is it just to get free shit?
No. And I think that's a misconception, is that, I think a lot of young players are always like, oh, I need to get endorsements, like it's a stamp of approval of like you've made it or something. But actually, endorsements aren't like that. And it's only the very, very top level players that get free stuff. I don't get free stuff.
Okay.
I get a little bit of a discount because I'm essentially like a trader. That's what you're treated as a sort of mid-level artist. But I just have a relationship with companies of instruments that I really like and stuff that I really like. But there's other perks, like with Dream Cymbals, I can go to their distribution centre, I can try lots of different products, hand-pick them.
You can get right in.
Yeah, I can get right in, but then as a result, I really get to know their instruments. I get to pick the best ones that inspire me. And then when I'm talking to other people, or playing on gigs and people are like, wow, this is amazing, what do you know about this cymbal? And I know stuff.
Do you think endorsements enable you to have more visibility?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, because there's just so many reasons to have endorsements. And like I was saying, it's that building of that relationship with that company or that distributor. And it's a two-way thing that I will tweet, or share on Instagram something about a product. But then when I've got a release, like, your release, I haven't done it yet, promise I will, send your links to all the people that, of products that I'm using, because they want content for their social media as well. They like to see what I do. And actually a lot of them, are now my friends because I've been working with them for so very many years. And they like to see stuff that I'm doing. And they're like, oh yeah, can I have a copy of the album? And they listen to it, and they become fans as well. So it is about people, and it's about relationship
community,
building. It is, yeah.
Family.
How do you find music? How do you find the stuff that excites you above and beyond the things that you're involved with?
I guess links on Spotify and things like that are obvious ones.
Links? What do you mean? Like Spotify suggestions?
Yeah. That sometimes.
Yeah.
But often it's talking to other people, because the music that I'm particularly into these days is like new wave jazz, new wave funk, like improvised music. So you know talking to my bandmates in my band, the Definite Collective, like, which is like, sort of that kind of defines, I think, my current listening tastes. And when I'm chatting to James Newman, who's the bassist, he's like, he's always finding new music, and he's like, oh, have you checked out this album? And I'm like, no. And I'm finding lots of music that way.
Yeah.
Refer a friend.
Yeah.
I used to go to record shops, and if I found an artist that I liked on a label, then I'll check out everyone else on that label. And that's how it was done. It was kind of like, and I was really into jazz as well, sort of when I was younger. And it was all about reading the sleeve notes and seeing who played with who, because they shared so many of the instrumentalists.
Actually, maybe a modern version of that is like, my favourite drummer is Nate Smith, and he's a big session player who's playing for all these different artists. Yeah. And I follow him on Instagram, and often he'll put up on his his news story, he'll at other musicians that he's playing with. Yeah. And often I'll then follow them on Instagram, and then maybe in there about me, oh, I'm playing for such and such, and then I start following them. Yeah. And that's kind of the modern equivalent, isn't it? So
do you find that, a lot of your work has been involved with labels behind the artists that you're working with, but I think it would be fair to say that now it is more community musicians, things you're interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, 10 years ago, I was just playing original music for bands that were on labels, and a lot less so now. Like, I've been working with Big Blue, which is almost a community based, but it's a professional theatre company that's bringing some of my other passions like together, like diving and that kind of thing, with music and drumming. And,
that was wicked that they were.
Yeah, it was great. And you guys filmed it, right?
Yeah.
Other than us playing more tech, funk, jazz, got any tips that you can offer us in our quest?
When you create art, right, you purely follow your heart, and whatever your choices, and you're making creative decisions based on what excites you, right? So, and I think you should do that entrepreneurially, and also in terms of marketing, and if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If something excites you, as silly as it might be, maybe one day you decide to sit here in gorilla costumes just for fun. Do it.
Oh my God, we could sit in the T-Rex costumes.
Yeah, you totally should.
So Paul, have you got any top tips or ideas for us?
Well, I'm sort of confused as to what this... Are you calling this a podcast, a vlog,
I suppose it's a web series.
I saw it very much as a TV drama.
Why do you ask?
The reason I ask is, I'm really interested in podcasts. I'm a huge podcast fan. I'm really interested in this conversation. I know you both as friends, but we're having a very different conversation because cameras are rolling, and it's really nice. It's a really different way of interacting. But I'm consciously aware that, this is 10 minutes long, and you're trying to get sound bites. And actually, what I really like from podcasts is the unedited podcast, the 3-hour conversation of someone who I'm into as a personality, celebrity, or a sports person, who are a sports expert, and I get to hear their unedited thoughts on any particular issue or a set of issues. And I think you guys should be doing an unedited podcast with these interesting people.
The podcasts I hear, which I do like, the ones that you listen to, they're funny. They ain't boring.
I'm funny.
Listening to you and, turning this into a podcast would be cool, actually. That's something, we could actually do that, because this goes out, our 10-minute thing goes out as an audio weekly on London FM Digital.
Right, okay.
So it actually goes out as a radio show, but actually maybe we should host an unedited podcast version, because actually there's a lot of stuff that has been said that would be a shame not to include, because it's kind of not on point for what the web series is about.
Well, you can be creative with this content, and you can put out different formats of it and see what works and what doesn't. Like some of the biggest podcasts in the world, like Joe Rogan's podcast was him and his friends in his basement, and no one really listened to it at the beginning, and now it's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. So he's definitely experimented with that format from the beginning. He didn't think, I'm going to do a 3-hour unedited podcast, and it's going to be really famous.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Can we use your performance of the gong as the cut segue for the podcast? So every time we change subject, or it's a new question, or we need to make an edit, just get that almighty
Yes, you can.
Who are we going to meet next then?
We've got quite a few people lined up actually.
Yeah.
So we've got Butch Leek.
Who's he?
He's a singer with the Drifters.
Shut up.
No. Linda Cirk from BBC introducing.
Yeah, in the new year.
In the new year. Bobby Bloomfield from The Rattle.
The Rattle. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Exploding.
And he's going to be talking to us from LA, where I'm going in January to film at the NAMM show.
Sure.
You weren't there, man.
How many times are you going to say that? Between now and then when you come back?
Just the once. I've said it.
I doubt it so much. You weren't there, man! Okay, so you're going to NAMM.
Yeah.
I'm staying here. I might just record a programme on my own.
Sure. The cake special.
I might just eat cake in front of a camera. just spread a table and just tuck into an afternoon tea. Not talking.
I'll tell you what else we've got coming up.
Our Christmas song.
Oh! Pocket Sun.
Yeah.
And we'll do a track for Christmas.
Yeah.
And this guy just signed a major deal with Universal Records. Worked really hard to get there. Genuine, built fans, sold out shows, festivals, got noticed, got picked up. He's coming to talk to us, but has also agreed to do a monthly phone conversation to keep us updated and kind of behind the scenes on what happens once you sign to a major.
That's pretty cool.
There's one more great piece of news.
What's that?
As a result of our chats with Paul Glover drummer, he's sent us this.
Hey Caligaris, it's Paul Glover here, reporting to you live from my home studio. I thought I'd send you a message to say how excited I am. As a result of the conversations that we had on the show, you've asked me to be a part of and help launch your podcast, learn some new things and to help, push it along and make it successful. So I've been chatting to my mate Buddy Peace, who's given me some excellent advice because he's a podcast editor for Scroobius Pip and he runs his own podcast called Buddy's Buddies. I really recommend you guys check it out. It's brand new. So hopefully I'm going to find some more people like Buddy who are really experienced, who can give me and yourselves in turn lots of advice, become guests of the show and general podcast friends. So yeah, really excited. See you soon. Take care. Bye.